Seth will be along shortly, I'm sure. Jess is supposed to call in.
While this is warming up, just a reminder to our guests, if you would, when you come to the podium, if you just say your name and what group you're from, that would be great for the record. And Mr. Chairman, you're live.
Thank you. Boy. Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. Is there any public comment that is not on the agenda? Did anyone not have a chance to read the minutes? And are there changes?
Yeah.
Can you tell Barbara the changes?
I think it was just spelling of my name wasn't correct, and
Yeah. I'll get that correct.
and that was the only thing.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, any other changes to the minutes?
Nope.
You are approved as amended. Do we have a financial report and claims?
I have no claims for you except for the ones that Lance is going to probably talk about and present, but we'll go to Michelle. But in your cash airport account, you have $100,392.02. $100,392.02, and then the CIP account is $545,130.19. $545,130.19. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. So we have our yearly officer elections. I'll go over a couple things, just kind of the ground rules of the whole process. When I open nominations to the floor, a member can call out name while seated. So if you want to nominate somebody, go ahead and call it out. You can nominate yourself. It does not need a second. You do not have to leave the room during the nominations when a vote is taken or when the vote is counted. The presiding officer can continue presiding even if he or she is a nominee. I wonder if we shouldn't wait till Jess and Seth come in. We might do that. Let me just get through this.
Yeah, sure.
A member can rise and decline a nomination during the nomination process. And then if there's no more nominations, I'll close it and we'll do one office at a time. The two offices we have, of course, are chairman and vice chairman. Specifically, the chairman shall have the executive power and supervision and management. The vice chairman performs those duties when the chairman is out. So we will put that on hold for just a minute and let's jump ahead. And hopefully we have a couple more members before we do that. Okay, we have David Kirk with the Southwest Montana Car Club and the use of the Townsend Airport.
That is me.
Would you like to take the mic, please?
I am not a public speaker. You're about to find out. I'm going to hand you these. These are just kind of reference what we do. My name is David Kirk, and I am from Bozeman. And my friends Chris and Lauren here are also from the Bozeman-Belgrade area. And we are all members of the Southwest Montana chapter of the Sports Car Club of America. And what we do is generically called autocross. And the SCCA, the umbrella that we operate under, the official term for it is solo competition. But if you talk to somebody on the street, autocross is kind of the general term. And what we do is we take a paved area, a good-sized parking lot. We set up a course with using orange traffic cones, just set them on the pavement, and we make little chalk outlines around them. And then we drive our cars between them to learn car control and safety and that kind of thing, so that predominantly younger people can learn to use their car, driving it quickly, but at the same time in a controlled environment and not out on the street. So keep kids from drag racing on the street. They can instead drive around a parking lot. And I have been at this for 25 years now, so I was one of those younger people at some point. I'm no longer. We would like to have you entertain the idea of our being able to rent the airport from you for a day, to set up an event to run that predominantly on, my term is ramp or pad, but you guys I think call it the ramp, the big flat paved area. And we would drive around on that for the day, and at the end of the day all you would have is a few chalk outlines where the cones were, and no doubt a few tire marks where somebody slid a little bit. It is not drifting where people are purposely going out and burning out and leaving big tire marks, but I'd be lying if I didn't say that there will be evidence of us there at the end of the day. There will be some marks on the pavement. Typically those fade away and they're gone. First good wind or rain or something like that, they're gone. We typically have, at our events that we have in Bozeman, we typically have 30, 35 towards 40 people. Our club also hosts events in Helena at the Police and Fire Training Facility there. We have also used the Livingston Airport, the Anaconda Airport, similar to setups to yours. We really like to focus on kind of bringing something to the community. Like we would like most of us will show up here and buy a tank of gas and get pizza like we just did across the street. It's really good pizza. And have a great time and then leave the place as clean or cleaner than we found it at the end of the day. We expect to pay for the use of the property. Let's see. Here is your property. This is your main ramp. The runway goes up north. We would be most interested in using the ramp and then maybe like this alley that runs off. That would make a really good event for us. If we had the ability to use this section of runway that loops around here, that would put us in heaven. But if using that part of the runway was not a thing, we would still be very happy with using just the ramp. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Everybody that competes with us pays an entry fee, and part of their entry fee is insurance. I can't remember what page the insurance amounts are on. I think it's the next to last page. For most things, it's $15 million per event. It's substantial. In 25 years of doing this myself, I have never seen property damaged or anyone hurt. Doesn't mean it's not possible. But the SCCA, Sports Car Club of America, has guidelines that we have to operate under that keeps things as safe as possible. And then in the event that some freak thing happens, we have insurance that takes care of property damage, injury, and that kind of thing. Does that make sense? So I don't know what procedure we would go through to talk to you folks about getting a yay or nay on this, whether you would have a vote on it. I don't know how any of that works. I just wanted to, I had talked to Dwight on the phone, and he was very helpful to us. And so he suggested I come out here and meet with you guys, and these guys were good enough to join me so I didn't have to drive out alone. So I wanted just to put that out there and see if there was a possibility of making something like this happen.
Sure. Mr. Chairman, I got a question.
Yeah.
When would this be taking place?
We have events all through the summer. We do not have a specific date in mind. And I understand in talking to Dwight that there are certain blackout dates that you have that where it wouldn't work, and we can work around any of those things. Okay. Typically, our first events of the season are late April, early May, and will run until end of September, maybe early October. And in that time, we could squeeze an event in almost anywhere. What we would love to do, if we had our druthers, is we would schedule a single event, and we would come out and we'd do it, and you guys, if you guys are happy and we're happy and everybody's like, this is awesome, let's do this again, then we do another. I'd be surprised that that's not the case, but I don't want to say we have to have this place 3 days a year or something like that. Like, we can just do one event and then see how everybody feels about it, and if it's great after that, fine. If it's not, no harm, no foul, and if you guys decide it's like, this is not for us, that's totally fine.
So you're currently doing one in Livingston Airport?
It's been a few years since we
Yeah.
ran last in Livingston, but we have run in Livingston and we've run in Anaconda.
Right.
Livingston got pretty busy because Bozeman got too busy. And there's jets landing out there. It's pretty busy.
Would it be a 1 day or 2 day, or how many day event would you?
I think we would just want to start with a one-day event. We often, in Helena, where we run, we have 2-day events, very often Saturday, Sunday. In Bozeman, we run at in a large church parking lot. We run there 5-6 times a season, something like that. And we run there only on Saturdays because they have services on Sundays. So a one-day thing is not a problem at all. If it worked out great and you guys were loving it and we could do a 2-day, we'd certainly be interested in talking about that.
Okay, well, I did a little background research into this just to get a sense of our situation.
Yeah.
And just to share this with everyone, there is a specific FAA guidance with regard to this, and it has to do with closure of an airport or partial closure of an airport for any non-aviation event. And the policy essentially is one that it's a rare event in terms of the FAA's opinion, and largely the FAA is guiding this simply because of the fact we're a funded airport. We just completely redid the airport very recently. And so, interestingly enough, I was kind of surprised to discover that we have to take this to the Secretary of the FAA for approval.
Really? Interesting.
So it's,
Yeah.
And this is a new guidance that came out in 2023. So it's only been around a couple of years now.
Yeah.
And so we've never dealt with anything like this
Okay.
Up to this point. I think everything we've done previously was, events that are prior to this new regulation that's in place. But I can give you essentially the information on this guidance and let you guys read it and see
Okay.
if you want to go through the process
Okay.
that's necessary to get approval from
Sure.
the FAA. But it's a national level approval,
Okay.
and not a local approval,
Okay.
apparently, from what I've been able to read. Bit disappointing for me because I like sports cars. And it's too bad there isn't an easy path for this,
Yeah.
but.
And is that exclusively for shutting down the airport or for use of the airport property for something other than aviation?
It's for the use of the airport for anything other than
Okay.
aviation.
Okay.
It's in addition, runway closure would be entire airport closure.
Okay.
Ramp would be partial closure,
Okay.
and they both require the same level of
Okay.
approval from the Secretary of the FAA. So it's a deal where you have to go to Washington to get this approved.
Right.
So,
I asked because when we ran in Anaconda a few years back, they left the runways open and everything. It was all fine. And at some point, someone came in and landed their jet, and they needed a taxi through. And we just literally, since the course is set up as just traffic cones, we picked them up and they taxied through and they parked and we went about our business and everything was fine. But so I asked that because I don't feel like we need to have the runway shut down.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I looked at that to be sure, and
Yeah.
the actual, in quotes, is closure of any portion of the airport for non-aeronautical purposes must receive FAA approval.
Okay.
So it's pretty well spelled out in the CFRs. And it says the impact of aviation needs to be thoroughly assessed and considered, and therefore closing should be avoided if possible.
Okay.
And believe it or not, there's an environmental impact statement that has to be done with this.
It's easy, it's more believe it than believe it or not, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of onerous. So anyway, I'll shoot that to you
Okay,
so that you can take a look at that.
okay,
And see what you think.
okay. Does it make sense, like, are you folks inclined to, if the FAA gave the thumbs up, would you folks be inclined? So, does it make sense for us to jump through all those hoops? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think I could speak for the board when I say that we very much view the public airport as for the use and enjoyment of the public, specifically the flying public. Now, the two parts of that, number one, we are FAA funded, so we have to dance to their tune. That's just how
Sure.
how it works. And then the other part of it is we need to decide what's best for the community at large. For example, the fuel is on the ramp, the air ambulance, the helicopters use the ramp primarily, not the runway. So we would have to consider those, I guess those aspects of it.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
But by and large, I mean, yes, by all means, we love the
Yeah.
airport to be used and enjoyed. That's
Sure.
what it's for.
Awesome. Yeah, I think I would just want to reiterate that whatever we do is so temporary that if there was an air ambulance that needed to come in, we literally just, with like a minute's notice, everything's out of the way. Because, we just have cars parked off to the side, we've got some cones, the people we have course workers that are out there monitoring the cones, and so if a cone gets hit, they get put back up. Those people stack up the cones, get out of the way, and so it's not permanent or anything by any means. It can be torn down in an instant. So,
Okay.
so if
You guys
something like that
monitor-
happened, if there was an emergency and somebody needed to land, or the air ambulance or whatever it was, like we're out of the way in a hurry.
So at those other airports, were you monitoring the VHF frequency, or do you have somebody that does that?
No.
Okay.
No, the airport manager had been doing that, and when we were told at some point in Anaconda, when somebody wanted to land, he came out and said, in a few minutes we're going to have somebody landing, and so we moved stuff out of the way, and everything was fine.
Gotcha.
But that's not something that we had taken on.
Okay.
The monitoring of the channel.
Sure. Okay. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Thank
I'm
you.
good.
We'll discuss. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate your time.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
We'd like to hear Lance's view on this, if you could.
Yeah, for the record, Lance Bowser, Robert Pesh and Associates. I happen to be the engineer for Livingston and Anaconda. I'm pretty new to Anaconda, so I actually recognized Kirk's name when using Livingston. I believe they just closed down a portion of the ramp. At that point in time, I think it was basically any closures could not impact the aeronautical use. So if you have a car show, those are quite common in conjunction with fly-ins or whatever, that is still considered an aeronautical use, right? It's a fly-in, it's not impacting the aeronautical use of the airport. You can have cars lined up as long as it's not impacting the use, people coming and going to that air show, etc. If you just close down the ramp, you could have, your business that do flight operations, flight training, anything like that, complain and say, well, I had stuff scheduled. I need to be able to use it. So obviously emergency access is, real important, but it can be anybody that wants to, any of your tenants or anything else that would want to use it. So I historically have heard from the FAA that it can't impact aeronautical use. I had not heard of the partial closures also needing approval. But
New.
Yeah, relatively new. But that's why Livingston doesn't do it anymore, is because they just were worried about it impacting their aeronautical use, and they have a full-time business there that relies on it, and that they just didn't want to get into it. So Anaconda is not as busy of an airport, so they maybe have in the past, but I'm also relatively new as their consultant. So it really just can't impact any aeronautical use, and I'd also be concerned if it damages the paint or anything like that. You know, the FAA being upset about that as well. So, but you read the letter of the law. I'm sure that that's what it is. Maybe it's just gotten more strict. This type of activity used to be
Yeah.
quite common,
Yeah.
of course.
There's even a need for an emergency response plan. So I'm just thumbing through a little bit more.
And of course, all FAA guidance, for the most part, is written for the major airports. That's just the way it's written. So no matter what we do on airports, it seems way overblown for GAAs. There's kind of been a relaxed stance. We still don't meet certain standards on airports that say are standard. Taxiway lighting's one of them. Those taxiway reflectors that we have at so many general aviation airports, that's non-standard. Everything's written like it's LAX or Salt Lake or Atlanta or whatever, and we're trying to interpret on how it applies. So they write that primarily for that, but then it trickles down through any airport that's federally obligated. So it's just the way it is. So I'm sure the FAA would be most concerned about any closure would impact aeronautical use and anything that might damage our pavements. Those would be their primary concerns, I'm sure. I have other instances, but I won't name them because it names other airports.
Okay, any other questions for Lance? Appreciate it.
Yep.
So I think what we have to decide tonight is either, A, pursue it with the FAA. I mean, we're not going to be able to say yea or nay. So we either are A, going to pursue it, or B, not pursue it, and because, you know, we don't feel it's appropriate. So I guess we can have a discussion before any motion here if anybody has any thoughts on it or feels strongly one way or the other.
Well, I guess my suggestion would be for me to provide you with the Federal Register information so you can read through it. I mean, because it looks like a lot of paperwork. So I don't know if you guys have ever done anything like this before, but
I don't think we have, but,
Yeah.
you know, we'll have to look at it and see what's involved. And
yeah. But I've never done anything like this. It goes on forever. So anyway, I'll shoot that to you. And I guess from my position, I'd say, you know, having you take a look at it and see, you know, how much paperwork you want to get involved with to do something like this, and maybe come back to us with some sort of a decision you guys want to make with regard to whether you want to go through all the trouble of meeting all the requirements, and then we could decide at that point if you're willing to take it on, whether we're willing to take it on, and that way it leaves the door open instead of, you know, coming to a decision today without all the information.
Yeah, I think at a minimum, we would have to provide somebody that wanted to be present on the radio. You know, if somebody needs to use the airport. We do have 2 commercial operators on the field, a flight instruction and egg operation, or 3, actually, I think.
Yeah.
A couple egg operations. So we'd have to, you know, run it by them and make sure nobody's going to jump up and down and get upset, whatever. Thoughts?
I mean, my thought was on the same line as Rob's there, you know, to kind of see if these guys want to pursue it. If they do, then come back to us and we can make our decision.
Would we be filling out paperwork to give to the FAA, or are we giving you information that you then pass on to them? I don't understand.
Well, since I just looked at this afternoon,
Okay.
I don't really know. I think there's some forms listed here, and, you know, I've never put together an environmental impact study
Yes.
or an emergency response plan for something of this scale. And so I'm just not sure what's involved at this point. So,
I understand, thank you.
Yeah.
As far as sort of emergency response plan, we can have our
DES.
DES person take care of that. They've got a whole binder full of them
Great.
for every event that happens in Broadwater County, so that wouldn't be too big of a hurdle to jump.
I suspect a lot of this would be reasonably boilerplate like that. I mean, it's not like this is the first time
No, I wouldn't think so.
that this is going on, so.
Yeah. So,
Lance Bowser again. an environmental impact statement, if that truly is required, it's going to be way out of line. I have never done an environmental impact statement.
Okay.
It is the top tier of environmental requirements. So you have CAT-X, categorical exclusions, which are, you know, you have to do field investigations, and there are 2 days worth of paperwork to do. That's what we did for this project, to make sure we're not disturbing anything that's historic or of historic or environmental significance, etc. There's an environmental assessment, which is like what Ennis had to do when they expanded and lengthened their runway for a significant change in their traffic. That was probably a $100,000 environmental effort that took a year. And then there's an environmental impact statement beyond that. I have never done one. So they are quite unique, and it would be like Haley, Idaho, major expansions, terminal relocations, et cetera, that would rise to that tier. So if that's truly the requirement, there's no way that it's reasonable. If they're just referencing NEPA, which is the overarching environmental requirement, then it might be able to be handled through, you know, a 4-hour categorical exclusion if they're truly just trying to refer to NEPA. But if they're truly saying environmental impact statement, there's no way.
Would it be worth a call to the FSDO and just see, let them give us a little guidance, say, hey,
Yeah.
you got to follow that, or, we can,
If you guys are inclined to, if you would be inclined to approve, I'm not asking for a decision on their behalf, but if you would be inclined to approve it, I would be happy to call the FAA Airport District Office in Helena and inquire even if it was just a partial closure of the ramp. If you say full closure of the ramp or we'll move, they're going to say no. But if it was a partial closure of the ramp that would not impact in a slower time of the year, thus not impacting aeronautical use, I could call and ask them if that would be allowable.
So I'll just read what they say here. This part's fairly short. Environmental analysis requirement. Approval of the closure of an airport facility for a non-aeronautical event is a federal action that requires environmental reviews under the National Environmental Policy Act. The level of review will vary depending upon the nature of the proposed event and should be coordinated with the RO/ADO for review and approval. So,
Yeah, so they reference NEPA, so it might be a simple environmental.
I think it's a phone call to
portion.
ADO.
Yeah, I can do
Are we
that.
not calling it a FSDO anymore?
FSDO's the flight operations side, the ADO's the
radio, yeah.
Airport District Office. They're the grant administration funding
Gotcha.
hammer. The pilots are, it's FSDO.
Yeah,
Mhm.
gotcha.
The
Okay.
grant funding side.
That was
is
a little
ADO.
off topic, but
Yeah. They used to be in the same office. Now they actually, they're right across the street from each other because the ADO moved to, I think they're in the ICE building now. So,
So I guess what this does imply is there's an additional cost that's going to be associated with this that you guys would be looking at having to pay to actually put on this event.
Okay.
So,
well, I can call the ADO. I'm not in charge for calling the ADO. If you guys are, if you'd like me to inquire a little bit,
Well,
I'm not in charge for that.
Sure.
Here's my thought on that. I mean, there may be some other events that, so let's get an answer
yeah,
so that we know what we can and can't do in the future. That's my
Yeah.
thought.
yeah, and this is not the
Absolutely.
first car group that's approached us for this
Yeah.
either.
good test case.
Yeah,
Mhm.
well, good to be at the pointy end of the spear.
That's
You get to be there
I
first.
get to head first right in it.
There used to be a lot of airports that would put them on with flying events. They'd close
Yeah.
down a
Right.
taxiway or something
Yeah.
and run drag races on the taxiway that didn't impact it was a partial closure, but
Yeah.
it didn't impact the aeronautical use because they could use other
Yeah.
taxiways to access everything. So they'd still have full operations. They could
Yeah.
submit closure phasing, et cetera. And it used to be quite common, and actually it was a
Sure.
huge draw to the airports
Yeah.
to garner interest in the airports, and it was a really good thing. I assume somebody probably took advantage of it, caused a bunch of impacts, and then they put this big hammer on everybody else.
One person.
Yeah,
They do have a special section on dual events in addition to individual events, so, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so obviously car shows are quite common in combination with air shows, airport fly-ins, et cetera.
Well,
So,
Twin Bridges, have done it quite a bit. Yeah.
yep,
More information is more information.
yeah, I'll call and ask.
Thank you.
Yep.
Just to put a point on it, I would like a motion that we pursue further knowledge on it. So that would be the ADO, it would be talking to the commercial operators at the airport. Just so we have an official statement on it, I guess.
Yep, so moved.
So what did you,
Okay.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, what did you move? What was your motion? Sorry.
I'll let-
To pursue further information,
For event hosting.
yeah, regarding the use of the airport for non-aeronautical use. Yes.
Thank you.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, is there any further discussion?
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
What is the best way for me to communicate with you to get the guidelines and stuff like that?
Oh, I'll just give you my email.
Okay.
And actually, I think you probably, this is a public document, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I can just give you
Click on the corner.
the page here, and that gives you all our phone numbers,
Oh,
and
it's a-
doesn't have my email.
do I have that here?
I'll put my email.
Yeah, it's on the
Oh,
back
yeah.
of that page.
Yeah, it's on
First
the,
page.
on the back page.
Right here.
And you, sir,
Robert Bargatze, B-A-R-G-A-C-C. Yeah. And I'll give you my email, I'll just write it on there for you.
okay.
Yep. This is the thing.
And just a point of clarification, like the way we were in, especially in Livingston, the fuel is about the same situation as you have here.
Okay.
And they told us, yes, if a plane lands, we said, no problem. We just make sure they just roll in there, fill it, and they roll back out.
Sure. Yeah, I think that would just be part of having somebody monitor the frequency. Hey, we got an
That's what I'll be sending
airplane
you.
coming in,
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah,
you know,
bet.
or a helicopter, whatever.
Yeah.
So I think that'd be all part of it, yeah.
And I'll need your email as well.
Okay.
And Mr. Chairman, I volunteer my time to monitor radio for them out there.
Wonderful, thank you. Maybe bring a car.
Write that out.
Oh, yeah, I should do that.
Got an old minivan out back or something you can run with them, right?
Control tower.
Is there any further discussion on the motion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries that we will pursue it. Thank you, guys.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome,
Yeah,
welcome to
appreciate
stay if you like.
By the way, your airport is freaking awesome.
Thank you.
Well, it's brand new.
Oh, man.
It looks good.
Lance over there, Lance the
awesome.
one that's responsible for it looking like that, so.
And Dwight too, yeah.
Dwight?
And your team, yes, absolutely.
I was pretty much speechless.
Oh,
When you
yeah.
first pulled
It's
up.
like, wow.
Yeah, we were very tickled with the shape it's in, yeah.
Yeah, awesome outcome.
Yeah, you should be proud.
Thank you.
And you still have money in the bank.
Okay, moving along, Lance, I think the floor is yours, again.
Thank you, gentlemen. I think we're going to excuse ourselves.
Thank you, wonderful,
Alrighty.
appreciate it.
Thanks for coming by.
Thank you.
Are both of these mine? You have
For the
one?
record, Lance Bowser, Robert Pesh and Associates, just to provide a project update, and then I have a couple of action items. So overall, construction-wise, we did complete the beacon shielding. I assume everything's still working well and no additional complaints?
Well, the shielding is good. Yesterday, the beacon is running sometimes 24 hours a day.
Oh, it still is. Okay.
And at 2:45 yesterday, it was running, and I did some running around out there, and at 3:30 it was off, so I don't know what the timing is on that.
Well, it comes on with pilot controlled lighting, doesn't it?
No, it's photocell, so it's dusk till dawn, and so it should come on via photocell, and I'm guessing that photocell's not working, so I will recontact them. There is I don't know if it was cloudy or not, but there is adjustments to it, because if it gets cloudy, do you want the beacon to turn on? Do you not want it to turn on? And so there used to be a slide on it that you could hide part of the photo eye, but now the newer ones are electronic, of course. I like the old version that I could just go up there and shift the slide up a little bit. The new versions, I'm like, call the electrician. So I will contact them and make sure that they try and continue to adjust it.
I was talking with one of the business owners out there last night, and he said things are working great when I was on the phone with him, and the lights were on and off like they should be. And
Yeah, we had an issue with it before, but last I checked, it was working perfectly.
Yeah.
The pilot controlled had the 7, 5, and 3 clicks and all that.
yeah,
It was all great.
working good.
Gotten a bunch of phone calls from another airport that's really struggling with their beacon and having all sorts of public outcry and everything else. Yeah, I know.
Just to let you know that when Three Forks does turn on on a cloudy day.
Yeah, and you can adjust them a little bit. It's better if it gets real cloudy, it's better if they turn on than
Yeah, exactly.
just not.
That's helpful.
Yeah, especially as you get into, the IFR runways for instrument approaches. If they're flying in instrument conditions, it's kind of handy for that to turn on.
Absolutely.
Pilots have to be able to see the visual environment of the runway, which can be just a runway light, the PAPI, etc. So it's kind of handy, get you in the direction of the runway. I know you're using the approach, but still, it's a really good safety check. So I will get with them to work on that and keep that on the punch list. The only other punch list item for construction is change order number 2, which I'll discuss. As far as RPA, we are working on the airport layout plan. That's your overall airspace obstruction analysis, which you have quite a few obstructions, both for existing, which you don't have any, but then ultimate conditions, which is a widened runway, instrument approach, et cetera, et cetera. And so it's a complicated plan. Part of that airport layout plan is an update to your Exhibit A, which is an airport property ownership map. We use that to establish good title for any FAA projects that we might be working on, to assure the FAA that you guys have good title for what we're receiving grant funding for. I'm working with your clerk and recorder on that transition, because it got quit claimed from the city county to the county only. So I got that quit claim, so we will be filing that. That way it shows county only. It does not appear to me that the 2 1.1 acre tracts that we bought in 2003 got quit claimed.
Oh.
So the clerk and recorder is working on that, but I think the city, she said she was going to contact the attorney that did the quit claim, and I said we need another if it's not filed, we need another quit claim that lists those 2 tracts, or 2 separate quit claims that list them. I think they probably could be listed in one, but I need that completed, which it's not holding us up, but I need it completed as we work through this project closeout. That'll probably eventually go in front of the county commissioners, I'm sure. But as of right now, I thought maybe it got filed someplace else, but I don't think it ever got completed. And then we're working on the airport's GIS, which is the data collection and obstruction analysis for the FAA to develop an instrument approach procedure. So we're working on that portion. We will have an FAA grant amendment, but I need to know what that final dollar amount is going to be. We are complete with, even though we're not fully complete with construction, I know all the final quantities from construction. We need the FAA to flight check your PAPIs, since eventually they will be not just visual only usage, they will be IFR usage. That requires that the FAA flight check them. Even though that might be 3 years down the line, we need to flight check them now so that it gets funded as part of this grant. The way they flight check things, they make the county, they don't quote me on the exact dollar amounts, but the county fronted $20,000, paid the FAA, different office of the FAA, $20,000, FAA flight check. They paid them $20,000, they go fly it, and then they charge the actual amount of usage. So if they happen to be in Bozeman and they fly over from Bozeman to flight check and then fly back to Denver, they charge you that exact amount, and then they refund the county the difference, and then we claim the 95% reimbursement on that dollar amount. So I need that completed so that I can then apply for the grant amendment, knowing final dollars and cents. So I'll have to delay that item. So the only item I have for action is change order number 2 as a recommendation to, recommendation to approve the change order number 2. And change order number 2 is for restoring and replacing the existing irrigation system. They did try and protect that irrigation system, but as they got into it, they were trying to protect all the heads, and then they're of course thinking, well, we can protect the lines, but then they start going digging through the middle of the lawn and they start hitting lines, and they're like, at this point in time, we can't trace these, we don't know where they're at. It's going to be cheaper for us to repair it, and then everybody says, well, it's way cheaper to put it back in brand new than it is to try and fix the existing system. If we flood the system, turn all the water on, it's going to jet sand and dirt through all your sprinklers. And then we're going to have to go replace all the heads anyways. We're going to have to find the lines. They were like, we're going to give you the same price quote to go fix it. And we talked with several subcontractors. And they said, we're going to give you the same price quote to put in a new system versus trying to repair
More to
it.
fix it.
Yeah, nobody wanted to try and
You
fix
don't
it.
have to try and map anything, you just punch and go.
Yeah, they basically said, well, we're just going to give you a price for, even if you tell us to fix it, we're just going to give you a price, and we're going to go rip everything out and put it in new. So they did get 3 price quotes. The contractor got 3 subcontractor price quotes. So, and the total change order price is $14,145. I have sent this to the FAA. They do not sign change orders because they are not part of the contract between Broadwater County and the contractor. So they don't sign it, but they did approve it. So the FAA has approved of this as an eligible expense, so it will be part of 95% reimbursed as part of the project. So $14,145 is the change order amount.
95% FAA funded.
Yes.
Right.
Round math, that's $700.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Ballparkish, yeah.
700 local.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, do we have a motion to approve the change order number 2, $14,145, 95% federally funded, approximately 700 local share?
So moved.
Did you get that, Aubrey?
Yes.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Is there discussion? This seems like a no-brainer to me. I don't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, if there's no further discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And the other one you had, FAA grant amendment, you're not ready to do that one yet?
Yeah, because we just need to know that final cost with the FAA flight check, because I need to know the exact dollar amount so that we can amend the grant to that amount.
Well, if it's 20 grand, tell them we'll do it for 10.
They,
Go take a look.
they're a big pain. We've only been doing, they call them reimbursable agreements. I'm going to say 10 years. And they're a hassle, but they're getting common. They used to flight check everything for free. I think Shortfalls, they found this window where the FAA could essentially charge the grant program costs for maintaining instrument approach procedures and FAA facilities. And when they have their plane up flying around, they'll shoot your pappies, but while I'm, and they're incredibly accurate. Whatever planes, they fly them, and their pappies are angled at 245 and 315 on a 3-degree glide slope, 15 minutes, 0.25 either side of 3 degrees. They flew twin bridges, and they said, I just won like 19 minutes down. I thought, 19 minutes, that's a lot. So I adjusted it 12 and said, fly it again. And he says, it's getting close, adjust it 7 more.
Wow.
And I was like, I don't know what's in that aircraft, but they were super, super accurate. So while they're up there and you're sitting there cranking on it, that plane will leave, go map airspace all over, and shoot approaches, because they have to go fly approaches to make sure trees aren't growing, buildings aren't going up, cranes aren't in the way all over the U.S., and they have these aircraft all over. Well, they'll go do all that while you're adjusting, then you radio them, and then they come back, shoot it, and then they leave again. It's pretty crazy, but I think they found an avenue to help them fund that through the AIP program, which is kind of a hassle, but that's what it is. So I'm not ready for the grant amendment yet. I'm hoping to have that for you next month, but I wanted to explain it this month in case I'm not here in person on that grant amendment, and I'll send a detailed email on the overages, underages, etc. The main overage was asphalt on the project. We didn't have any real significant change orders or things that were not in lines with the plans and specs. The FAA has tolerances on their grades. Their gravel grades are 0 high to 400 low. That's our tolerance when they finish grade the gravel. Okay, so half inch, they can be a half inch low to 0 high, because they don't want the asphalt to be thin, so they have to be 0 high. So on average, that leaves them a 1/4 inch low, and then the asphalt grades are plus or minus. Well, they were a little high. We didn't pay them for anything that was out of tolerance. We surveyed it and mapped it, and anything that was out of tolerance, we didn't make them go grind it off, because there was no benefit to grinding it off. It was smooth, it runs fine, and the grades don't impact us in any manner. It was going to be more damaging to go grind it off than just leave it in place, but we didn't pay them for that was out of tolerance. But you basically got, instead of the 3-inch specified, you got 3.5 inches everywhere. Actually a little bit more than 3.5 inches. And that is evident in the cores that we took throughout construction, as well as the survey. Since it's within tolerance and part of the contract, they're eligible for it. So it's we have to pay them for it. That's primarily where we're over. I will say, I think your pavements are going to last a lot longer with the 4 inches of asphalt. I think it's long-term going to be, we will be money ahead long-term on the life cycle of this pavement, being over $100,000 on the project that's going to be federally eligible. It's going to be, I think it's overall a benefit long-term to be in having thicker asphalt. We just see a lot better performance with 4-inch asphalt thickness than we do with 3-inch. We just do. Additionally, you guys got a binder, the oil that's in the asphalt, that's a much stiffer oil that's just a lot better. It came, Helena Sand was paving Deer Lodge Airport, and they used that asphalt mix. And that oil is a polymer modified oil that just performs a lot better. And it's more expensive, but it's a lot better oil. They thought it was better to do that than develop a new mix design. So I think your pavement's going to be fantastic. I'm really excited about it. And I think the overage, if I look across what is going to be 20 years into the future, we're going to be money ahead going over by this $100,000 by a large margin.
Great.
Yeah. So.
Well, you've heard it 100 times, but everybody that I talk to, you run into somebody out there, and I think everybody agrees, boy, it's just outstanding the way it came out.
Yeah.
Everybody's just tickled.
Yeah.
Even sports car guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that kind of comment is common.
Yeah.
Well,
That
I hear it
says
all the
something
time.
too. Livingston's a really nice airport and a really nice facility, so they spent some time there. It's a really nice facility as well. So no, I agree. I think it turned out great. I really liked the way the asphalt came out. I thought the contractor was really good to work with. They did a good job. and even the subs as well. I really liked the crew that they had put together and the team that they had put together in whole. So I thought the project went really well. The overages is just overages within the tolerances of the spec and the bid. It's just,
Yeah, and not forgetting that we were quite a ways under our original estimate anyways.
we were way under the original estimate, and additionally, you guys found a very good year with aeronautics support on availability of aeronautics funding to fund a
Absolutely.
very significant portion of the 5% share. I'll tell you when we're all done, but I think it's like 4.8 or 4.9% that they ended up funding, which is, you know, the 500,000 in the CIP was like 15 years of saying even 3% is going to be a lot of money. And when the airport really started saving for that, the FAA was only funding 90%. So we were thinking that the airport might have to fund 7% of it to get down to like 0.2. It's just crazy.
Unreal.
Yeah, so really good.
Well, and on the timing aspect too, I mean, we originally had posted this for 23, I think, right?
Yeah.
And
FAA
pushed back,
pushed us
and
back.
it was interesting because at the time we had some public comment that were saying, why are you guys doing this? The airport looks good. And then you have the state coming out, or maybe it was the FAA, I thought it was the state. Anyway, it came out and said, well, you're on the bottom end of fair, almost into poor. So, I mean, we used it up.
Yeah.
We didn't waste anything that way. Anyway, it's just, it couldn't have worked out.
And they're mapping that. The state, through the FAA, does inspections every 3 years, and we can track the trajectory of payments, and the trajectory of payments, especially in Montana, is, you know, they start to decrease, and then they go in a quick hurry.
Sure.
And as they degrade to the point where there's just heavy cracks and the moisture starts getting in under below, it's not just the pavement is starting to fall apart, which was occurring. It can make your construction costs way skyrocket as you get water infiltration into your gravels and soils beneath because you can't keep up with crack sealing and everything else. So then instead of just the pavement deteriorating, your construction costs go up. So you're trying to time when best, and there's a reason why they map that, and we're watching that every 3 years, is because of that, because we're trying to, across the system, map the best timing for reconstructions on airports across the nation. So it's the reason why the FAA funds them. So it worked out fantastic. I just wanted to explain what that grant amendment is going to be and why, because that was the significant portion of it, was the asphalt. We had pluses and minuses here and there, but that was really, that probably 95% of the overage was that asphalt thickness.
Yeah, I mean, we could see that when we did the drone flight. You could see how significant the cracking was. You know, it's everywhere. You don't see it when you're landing because it's going by too fast, but the drone images, it's clearly ready to go.
Did we ever get another drone flight for?
Not since we
when it's
finished.
finished, yeah.
No, we haven't.
No,
done
we
that.
kind of wanted to do a comparison.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've still got everything licensed and ready to go, and so we can do that whenever we want to do that. So.
And I'll get a really good graphic from the aerial imagery company. I'll send it out when we get it. I'll ask when I get back. We might have it. They send it. It's a massive amount of data, so they're really hard to deal with. But they send us prints and send us the emails of some really good, at 100% straight down views of the airport, and they're super clear. So
Great.
I'll send that when we get it.
Oh, that'd be great.
So for next month, the grant amendment request was the asphalt overage, and I'm sorry, you had mentioned another one and I didn't write it down.
We had some pluses and minuses. I'll send a summary when I send that grant amendment request, but that's going to be the only thing
That's the only thing, okay.
that I have
I
pending
don't know
for
why I was
action.
thinking maybe that's something else. Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thanks, Lance.
So let's cut back to the officer elections and get that knocked out, if we would. Okay, so I'm going to open nominations from the floor, from the members of the board for chairman.
Mr. Chairman, I'd move that we retain Adam as our chair.
Okay, Adam McDonald is nominated. Any further nominations? Okay, all in favor of Adam McDonald retained as chairman, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, and are there any nominations for vice chair?
Mr. Chairman, I nominate Daryl as vice chair.
Okay, we have Daryl Folkford nominated as vice chair. Are there any further nominations?
I was gonna nominate you.
Okay, hearing no further nominations, all in favor of Daryl Folkford as vice chair, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, that is done. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate the service.
Yeah.
The next thing on the agenda is Bob Hartley's hangar lease request. We took care of that before the meeting. All we needed was a signature, and so that's been taken care of, so we can move on. Okay, so we had a budget meeting with Bill Jarocki and Debbie and Dwight and myself, and one of the things we discussed was this snowplow, and you guys probably got the email that, Dwight, if you could explain, somebody gave you a tip on a snowplow that was going up for auction, or a few of them or something. Anyway, we talked a little bit about it at the budget meeting. We didn't feel it was appropriate to move forward with it at the time. We didn't know the price. It was down in Idaho, 6-hour drive, and I wouldn't certainly feel comfortable making a decision on it unless one of us could go crawl around the thing and poke on it and whatever. But anyway, Dwight, do you have any further information on this snowplow discussion?
For the record, Dwight Thompson, airport manager. So Ross Marty, the assistant director at the Helen Airport, he been kind of looking out for us, and he had sent me some information on auctions that are going on for snowplow equipment. And so it just happens to, well, I had my eye on 3 different snowplow options, and those all closed today. And you know, yesterday we had a little bit of snow here, and we don't have, currently we don't have a plan for snow removal. And as I was out there yesterday, we have little 1/4-inch drifts, but they freeze, and then there's just ice underneath that stuff. And the good news, it wasn't down the center line or the landing area of the runway, but well, I think it's something that's gonna, if we get more snow, we might have a situation. Well, some of those other snowplows I'm passing around, those other 2 were in Minnesota, and those had sidearms and stuff. And one had brand new tires on it, and you know, the thing sold, I think, for what, $13,000 or $14,000 and stuff. But those are just Adam had just said, just kind of keep your eye on it, so we have a kind of a learning. You know, what's kind of the going rate for some of these used pieces of equipment. Of course, there's going to be more that show up, so we have. Something
you'd
to watch.
Be interested in, Dwight, is a truck like that? Because really, you need something that can trap snow. To get that
Yeah,
stuff,
well,
you know.
you're right. You know, for the parking area, or the ramp, you know, for the runway,
Yeah.
you know, it pushes it off there. You know, you can get some speed up, but the ramp area, you need a pusher and stuff. But that's why those other 2 plows, they do have the sidearm that gets you a little bit more. Otherwise, you're just taking forever. Yeah, just going out the sides, but. Yeah, and there are some pieces of equipment that the park-in, like Lowe's and Home Depot, and you know the shopping centers use to push snow out of the way. That'd be ideal for what we would need for the parking area. They're not real good for the runway, but yeah, that big piece of equipment there, that still needed a plow. It came with a brush. And so we would have had the purchase of a plow, you know, on top of that thing. So, but those things sell for over $300,000. But just something to think about. You know, I guess we do have some money, but you know, I'd rather see us buy a cheaper plow and put that money into a AWAS or some other piece of equipment.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
this discussion is, I mean, you know, if we do a FAA-funded brand-new plow for 300 grand in a building and all that, and then we're not putting that money towards NAWAS or wildlife fencing or some of our other priorities. And it does seem like a heck of an overkill for the half dozen days of snow significant snow we get here. But I don't know the best way to do this.
That's all
I mean,
I
if we
have.
come across a deal like, hey, here's a decent plow that isn't gonna require constant maintenance, hopefully, and it's 15 grand, I don't know how we handle that as a board and go after something that
Well,
we don't have a month to decide.
you'll have to work with the commissioners. You can do that. We've done that in the past.
Could you get pre-approval or something, or we contact, have an emergency board meeting or something?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anything that's FAA has that Buy American amount to it, doesn't it?
Well, this wouldn't be FAA
Yeah.
money, so,
But if you did do that big,
Yeah,
where you
so
do
much
that, that's
steel.
all, you have to have a Buy American
Right.
and a lot more behind it.
Like your
Yeah.
paper clips.
oh, yeah, I get
Yeah. Cool.
So that's all I have on the runway, or the plow.
Yeah, I don't know how, the auction thing doesn't work well for this situation simply because we don't know what it is until the last 5 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, I was watching those today, you know, and you're exactly right. And they kept extending the auction. If somebody would bid in the last, you know, minute, then they extended it another minute. It went on for another 15 minutes on all three of those things. But,
I mean, other than to have an emergency meeting before an auction, like, okay, we approve up to X dollars or something, you know,
yeah,
that might be a lot to do that every time an auction comes up.
yeah. Well, personally, I wouldn't want to be responsible for picking a plow and say, I just spent, you know, I'd certainly want to include you guys on that decision and whether or not, you know, as far as going and picking one up, I don't think that's an issue, but.
You want to drive one of those from Mankato?
Yeah, those two from Mankato, yeah. Well, reason to take take the airplane for a little ride,
There you go.
so.
I don't know, what are your thoughts? It's been an ongoing conversation for
Yeah.
years.
I guess the other option is have the road department continue to maintain it.
Well, that's the thing. They're not really interested in doing it now anymore, Daryl. They, you know, we're down the list, and I get it. You know, they have their school bus route, the mail routes, and, yeah. I have a good rapport with them. I mean, that needs to come from you guys if you want to ask and see what they get. But, yeah, you know, they got 2 new plows.
Well, that's the situation we're in now. When
Yeah.
we get snow, we're gonna have to ask them, and
Yeah.
and hopefully they can get to
Exactly.
us in a reasonable amount of time. In the meantime, I guess we just keep our eyes open, and if we think we're hot to trot on one, then we call a meeting and pursue it.
Mr. Chairman, sorry to interrupt you. Jess wasn't able to call in. I gave her several numbers and she wasn't able to call, so,
Oh.
but she's on text, and her comment was, if I could share it,
Please.
I think we should contract out. She's watching, so,
Okay.
anyway, that's her
Oh,
opinion.
Okay.
Contract out.
You know, kind of my experience, and I've been involved in the equipment business for quite a while. Right now, it's probably not your best time to try to buy a snowplow.
Yeah.
Right.
Need to wait till
Summer.
spring, summer,
Yeah.
and that's when you're gonna find your really good deal.
Well, we'll just continue to watch it until,
It reminds me, I gotta sell a snowmobile. All right, well, we're gonna continue the conversation then. Would be interesting to get some quotes from private companies for contracted work. You see other airports doing that?
Few.
Really?
Yeah, I know Conrad does. They've talked about getting their own for a lot of years, and we're like, they do a good job, only charge us when we need it.
Yeah.
We don't have to maintain anything.
That's a really good option.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Jess.
Yeah.
I mean, do they have equipment that's capable of clearing an area? I mean, that was something we talked about you know, just getting a pickup truck with a plow in front of it, which is basically what the contractors would
Mhm.
have. I mean, do we think that's adequate? I mean, I think at one point you didn't think it was.
Yeah,
Well, if they can clear Walmart's parking lot, they can clear a
Well, I
ramp.
guess that's
Yeah.
true, yeah,
yeah.
that's true.
It's a pretty big job.
Yep.
Okay, well, is there somebody that would like to volunteer, maybe pursuing some companies that could give us quotes?
I'll make some calls.
Okay,
Sure.
thank you, Ralph. Yeah, I think that's probably the smartest thing to pursue right now. Okay, well, since we got you want to do a report for us?
Okay. So, first thing is, yesterday I received the airport directory. I don't know if you guys had a chance to get, have you got yours?
Yeah, but I didn't open it to Townsend
Yeah,
yet.
well, unfortunately, our new airport isn't listed on the directory. I talked with Mary Bell about that, and she was gonna send all the information over to Steve, and we have last year's airport on this year's directory, so if you see that, that's, it's just unfortunate, but that's the way it is.
As in, it doesn't list the apron expansion, or what?
I don't know exactly what happened. She had a nice layout that she was just gonna send over to Steve, and
That would be the only
updated.
practical difference for
Yeah.
the directory,
yeah.
I think.
So,
right?
and then we just have a little, just the windsock is at the other airport, 8U9 is on there, so, which I'm really glad to see it's still standing after the big winds we had, a few weeks ago. I was a little nervous about that because I had knocked the top off the concrete when I went to set that, and so it's standing still, so that's good. Speaking of windsocks, I know you and I, Adam, talked about the one at 8U8. It's kind of down in a gully, and it's protected by the ranch or the farm that's right next to it. So the windsock is it's not always it's going the same direction as the other windsock, and I don't know how you guys feel about it. If I should just take that down, or what we should do with it, because it's not a real accurate flow of wind right there where that windsock is located.
So it was placed according to FAA standard. Is there a problem if we move it up the hill a little bit?
Maybe not. Let me look. Let me verify.
Yeah,
It's not a big deal, but I have
Yeah.
noticed they're pointing different directions all the time. It is nice to
I
have
just
them on
shouldn't
both
take
sides,
it down, for a pilot to be relying on that one, just because of the wind coming around that farmhouse and stuff, to land downwind so,
I suspect if the wind is strong enough for the
It'll
an
straighten
issue,
out.
they would agree, but
yeah,
one person's strong wind is another person's light wind, so.
yeah. So that's the only thought I had on that. Maybe I'll just take it down until we can move it.
Well,
if
leave
we
it up
can.
until we get Lance's opinion.
Yeah, okay. So, next week, a week from today, is the opening of the Montana Aeronautics Grants. And Rob, are you going to come up and go with me to that? Or
What's the date of that?
the 28th, that's a week from today.
Oh, from today.
Yeah, in the morning.
Wait a minute, 28. I think I have a conflict.
Oh, okay. We don't have much, because it's basically the same request we had last year for gravel material for 8U9. That's the only grant application we put in for there.
Yeah, I have a
Should-
conflict,
You do, okay.
and it's one I can't break.
Anybody else would like to join? Well, Jess is not here, so we could,
She said she's will help.
that's all right. I'll lean on Lance again. He stepped in with me last year, so. Yeah. So, okay.
February 28th, you said?
January 28th, a week from today. Yeah. And then we should know on Thursday
So then,
how
like,
it kind of
we'll
goes. Please let us know. Yeah, so you present on Wednesday.
Jess said she might be able to make it.
Oh, okay. Oh, great. We'll still count on Lance to help us out. He knows how to talk to those people. And Then the February 25th, again, is just a reminder of the Montana Aviation Conference in Billings. And then Jess and I are going to get together again on the fly-in for June 13th. And Jess, while you're on there, I did talk to the Air Force, not Maine, but the Air Force today. They still have us on tentatively on the schedule to come with a Gray Wolf helicopter for a static display. So.
And I just got booked for that date. I am so bummed. I'm going to miss it.
The fly-in?
Yeah. Darn. Anyway.
Yeah. So, yeah, Jess and I are get together and come up with some other thoughts, ideas, and food and stuff. So, yeah, I can't remember. Have you heard of fly-ins, Lance, that do a stole drag race?
Yeah.
I have no idea what that
I
is.
went and watched a couple of them. It's incredible.
Well, I was talking, what are some other things that are, for the great fly-ins that are, the breakfast, reduced fuel, for the fly-in to come in, fuel breakfast. And I guess the new hot topic is the stole drag races, which I have not a clue what that is. What is that, Daryl?
Yeah, they basically drag race with airplanes, and they take off, go down to the end, they have to land, spin around, and fly back. See who crosses the finish line first. I mean,
it's got your name on it.
It's amazing. Yeah.
So, anyway, Jess and I are getting together on that.
Jess
so.
and anyone else with contacts, let her know. Sorry, I keep interjecting.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah.
They're a little dangerous.
Yeah.
Because they're short, so it's like short takeoff, landing,
And they're low, and they slip hard.
and they have no fuel.
Right.
Because how do you land super short? Not a lot of weight.
Yep.
So they're a
Well.
little dangerous.
Hey, well, time out.
All the fun stuff is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I don't think it'd work at our airport anyway. There's not enough room
Been a
to.
few
land
things
and
on
spin around,
YouTube with
so.
those where it didn't work out real well, even at Oshkosh.
Well, I had no idea what that was. It was.
Well, you got to have a wide runway or 2 runways.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all I have.
Thank you. Any questions
All right.
for Dwight while we got him? Perfect. Thank you. Appreciate it. Fuel pricing has been pretty steady. It was upper 3s until last week. It's now low 4s. The wholesale price was 404, so we're still, I think, priced pretty well. I looked in the surrounding area, and I think we're medium low. So not a lot of change there. There's something, your measurements in the SiteMinder aren't agreeing with how much fuel we got, and I haven't figured it out yet. We should have about, well, according to the SiteMinder with the QT pod, it says we have 6679 remaining, and your gauge said 7349.
The wind was blowing it it seemed like it was evaporating off the stick about as fast as I put it back down, see where it's at, and bring it up and just see it, okay, where was the wind at?
Okay. So we have somewhere around 7,000 gallons left, I guess is the plan, but just projecting that out, I think we're gonna end up buying a summer load of fuel, but anyway, so no change on fuel. I don't see any reason to. Is there any new business?
I was just going to add, listening to the conversation about snow, eventually we'll get some snow. Don't hesitate to call TJ. He and I talked after you and I talked or whatever. Yeah, he's got to do the school routes, the mail routes, and he will get to you guys. He's got a full crew. He's got 2 new snowplows. They haven't been doing anything yet, so, but he said he will get to you. So don't be shy about calling.
Yeah, and they've done pretty darn well for us in the past.
Yeah, oh yeah, like I said, I got a good relationship with them.
Yeah, they've always been real good.
Yeah. So I have a question on the fuel. How many gallons did we sell since last month?
I don't have that off the top of my head.
Oh, okay, I was just curious.
I know it was
Had
27
good
gallons.
flying weather.
27 gallons a day through the winter. I just looked at that, which is pretty good. Considering we did have a bad stretch of weather, now it's been beautiful lately, and I think it's up. I think it's been more like 40-some gallons a day when the weather's nice. But yeah, I don't have that exact number for you. Okay, any other new business? Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
So a question for you, Lance.
Yeah.
How many square feet are we